Hey y'all, it's Kim from Kim Dixon Creative, and I'm here today with a project for Kendra's Card Challenge number 11. And I'm going to be using, I'm going to be inspired by sketch number 10. As you'll see, it's not exactly it, but we do have a landscape card with something in the center. We have a lot of rectangles going on. And I'm using products from Whimsy stamps. I'm using Heifer Please, the stamp set, and I'm also using the Slimline Fence set. I also showed you a stamp set there called Southern Sayings. I thought I might use it, but I ended up not using it. But it is hilarious and goes very well with this stamp set. So we're going to stamp this little cow out. She's a sassy cow. Something tells me her name's not Bessie. It's bound to be something funnier than that. But I'm going to stamp her out on some Express It blending card using some ink on 3 ink. You can also use Memento Tuxedo black ink. I'm going to be using some Copic markers. And I am super speeding up the coloring because, as you guys know, I am no expert in coloring. But, you know, some of you say you like for me to leave the coloring in. So here is the coloring on this sassy cow. So a little bit about Kendra's Card Challenge. She comes out with this challenge once a quarter. And over on the Kendra's Card Challenge Facebook page, you can upload your photos of your rendition of the challenge and could possibly win some prizes. And Whimsy Stamps happens to be one of the sponsors for this quarter's card challenge. And that's a lot of fun. She has this amazing sketch that you get for free, and it uses up some of your pattern paper and uses minimal. She does it to where you have just minimal scraps left over. It's really a great way to build your stash, your card stash, and especially with Christmas coming up, that would be an awesome way of getting your Christmas cards done. So, you know, or any other kind of card, you know, all the time. I'm always needing birthday cards. I'm always needing thank you cards. None of us like to make sympathy cards. So, you know, make them when you don't have to have them. That way, you know, there won't be emotion attached to the card until you actually have to give it to a recipient. I'm telling you this, not that I do that, but I need to do that. And why not use Kendra's Card Challenge to do that? So I don't have the die for our little cow here. But there is a die available. And but I just fussy cut her. She's not too hard to do. And once I fussy cut her, I pulled out my Memento dual tipped marker to just kind of darken the edges of it. This kind of covers up if you get a little too close to the line or not close enough to the line. It covers that up for you. Then I've taken that Slimline Fence die and cut out all the pieces to it. There's grass, and then there's the fence boards, and there's also nail heads or screw heads. Cut all that out, and I'm using different Simon Hurley inks just to give the die cut pieces a little bit of dimension. It really didn't show that much on the board part, but it did help the grasses that I cut out. I think I needed a darker brown than what I had. Maybe if I would have taken just a light hand of black, I could have gotten a little more dimension on my fence boards, but I was afraid to use black, and I don't know why, because there's a whole other 6x12 piece of brown paper that I didn't use. But here I am cutting the my card base. It's a slimline card, So I cut it to 8.5 by 7. So folded, that's going to give us an 8.5 by 3.5 card. And then I'm taking a piece of paper that I pulled from an old Mente paper pad that I had. I liked the wood grain. The problem of it is it's not long enough for what I needed. And so I'm having to cut it a little bit longer because it needed to be 8.25 and it's 6 by 8. So what I did is I cut it to where I had that one piece is 2 inches, and then I cut enough off of the one side so that when I put it together it made it 8.25 inches. And because it's a wood grain, once I put it together you couldn't even tell it on the card. So I'm going to score the card base that I cut at 3.5. Again, that's going to give us a slimline card. There are dozens of different dimensions for slimline cards. For a regular slimline, I usually do 3.5 by 8.5. So that's just the way I like to do mine. So to put those two pieces of wood grain paper together and make sure that I didn't drop something, I just taped them on the back side. The tape's not going to show through and it's all going to work out just fine. And that gets me, I could get it on the card. I felt more comfortable and a little more confident getting it on the card that way, on my card base. And I'm telling you, I'm sitting here looking at it and you cannot see where I pieced that paper together. So here I am kind of getting things lined up like I wanted to see how I wanted my my cow to show through my fence. And so it's kind of a weaving process of putting one fence board up, then the cow, then another fence board, and that kind of thing. But I'm just going to glue her up and get her on. I wanted it to kind of look like her head was stuck through the fence boards, and it turns out pretty cute, I think. And I made sure that I got enough art glitter glue on her, but not so much that it oozed out everywhere. And then I'm going to put that bottom fence board down. Right across her feet there. Now, when I start putting my cross pieces on, I want those popped up on some foam. So what you have to think about, your first piece you're going to put, or if you're using foam dots, you want to use 3 so that it's supported on each end and in the middle. But then when you put this second one on, you're only going to want to put foam dots on each end and glue in the middle, because if you don't, if you put a foam dot there in the middle, it's going to bump out because you've got 2 foam dots there. And so you want that to be flat and level across. And so that's how you want to do that. And so I cut out the little screw heads or nail heads. I thought I had some gold or some silver paper, but I didn't. This is a rose gold. We're going to call it brass. And so I'm just going to put one on each end of the cross pieces of my boards there. And I did get a little bit too much glue, but the good news is about art glitter glue, it dries very clear, and I can look at it right now and not see where that glue oozed out, especially right there, that top one on the left. You can see glue kind of poking out up there. You cannot see that glue today. Now I'm going to get my grasses placed, and what I did is I just popped up the grasses on the bottom, and I used a little bit smaller glue dot or foam dot than I did on my fence boards. And once I get those on the card like I want them, I'm going to curl those leaves out just a little bit and give that some dimension, and it really turned out good to do it that way. I just, kind of pulled it away and maybe used my thumbnail to rub across it and kind of curl it just a little bit. Not a lot, just a little bit, enough to give it some dimension. And I did it on all 4 pieces of the grass on each side. I did them the same way on both sides. The ones you see over on the right now are just sitting there, but I actually end up putting those on with some foam dots as well, just the same way, and curled up the pieces. Now I want to put my sentiment on here, and if this sentiment doesn't represent my area of the country, I don't know what is. It says, "The South doesn't hide its crazy. It gives it sweet tea and puts it on the porch." And then the sentiment on the inside says, "That girl is a few peas short of a casserole." So I thought that would be a really fun card to send to my friends. We joke about being Southern and, all that kind of stuff. So it's really neat. So I was really pleased with how the card turned out. And I thought about putting something on the inside as far as some paper. And I thought, I like it like it is. So I pull out my logo stamp that I always put on the back, and get that put on the back of my card. And we have our card. I just really think that turned out so cute. That stamp is hilarious to me. Well, thanks for stopping by. I'm so glad that you took some time to check this out. Please go to Kendra's Card Challenge. I'm going to leave a link in the description box below to the Facebook page. And, join in on the fun. We have a lot of fun on the Facebook group, and I would love to see you there. Thanks. Bye. Thank you for being a part of this amazing community. It's an absolute joy sharing my passion for paper crafting with all of you. Joining our YouTube community is easy. Simply click the subscribe button and hit the notification bell to stay updated with the latest videos. Don't forget to engage with the content by liking, sharing, and leaving comments. Your participation makes this channel thrive and grow. Please remember this: our God is a creative God. He created us in His image, which makes us creative as well. We are all creative in one way or another. Step out in the world today and let your imagination soar. Embrace the limitless possibilities out there and create something extraordinary. Anything your heart desires. I love you and can't wait to see you again in the next video. Bye.